Give the call to the member for Paterson.
Thanks, Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Education. What is the Albanese government doing to make sure the next school funding agreement delivers a better and fairer education system? And how's this different to previous approaches, Minister?
Give the call to the Minister for Education.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and can I thank my friend, the sensational member for Paterson, for her question. We've got a good education system in Australia, but it can be a lot better and a lot fairer. In January, the Productivity Commission released a report that revealed if you're a child from a poor family or from the bush or an Indigenous Australian, you are 3 times more likely to fall behind at school. And that report told us that over the last 10 years we've seen the reading skills of children in primary school improve, but the gap in reading skills of children from wealthy families and poor families at primary school get worse. And that report also told us that if you're a child from a poor family and you go to a school where there's a lot of disadvantage, then it's harder to catch up. And that weighs heavily on me because I went to a school like that. These are the sort of problems we've got to tackle. Now, funding is important, but so is what it's spent on, what it's invested in and what it's tied to. That Productivity Commission report was critical of the current schools agreement because it said it lacked real targets and it lacked the practical reforms that we need to tie that to tackle these sorts of problems. And I've told this parliament before that the next agreement will have those targets and it will have those sorts of practical reforms. Yesterday, I announced the expert panel whose job it will be to provide education ministers with what those targets should be and what those reforms should be that we tie future funding to. And leading this work will be Dr Lisa O'Brien, the Chair of the Australian Education Research Organisation and the former CEO of the Smith family. Dr Lisa O'Brien will lead a team that also includes Lisa Paul, Professor Stephen Lamb, Dr Jordana Hunter, Dion Anderson and Professor Pasi Sahlberg. They'll report to me and other education ministers by the end of October. This is a big year, Mr Speaker, for education. Last month, the Prime Minister announced Professor Deborah Brennan will lead the most comprehensive review of early education in Australia's history. At the other end of the education spectrum, Professor Mary O'Kane is leading the Universities Accord, the biggest review of higher education in 15 years. And in between is the work that Dr Lisa O'Brien will lead. Weaving through all of this is a common thread, though, and it's about opportunity. If you're a child today from a poor family or from the bush or an Indigenous Australian, you're less likely to go to preschool, you're more likely to fall behind at primary school, you're less likely to finish high school and less likely to go to university. This is a chance to change that.